Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 3 of the Second Caution. I'll be your host, Eric Olenowski, ESPN, NCAA, and Big Ten Network analyst for college wrestling. For today's show, we have a very exciting guest. If you were to pick one breakout wrestler of the season that nobody saw coming, I would say he has a shot, if there was an award being awarded, of winning that award. Christian Pagdilao, 149-pounder for the Arizona State Sun Devils. Christian, welcome to the show.
Nice to be on here, man.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you. I just continually been following you, and let's get a little background information for those viewers who don't know exactly who you are. You start your career at Michigan State. You were granted a release from Michigan State, which I've been around the not only the Big Ten, but the program for almost 10 years, and I've never seen anybody released. So what were your initial thoughts when you found out that you were granted that release from Michigan State?
Oh, it's just a blessing, you know. I'm glad that they're understanding, and it definitely made the process a lot easier. But at the beginning of me getting the release, I wasn't sure on where I was going to even go. To be honest, I was just wanted to be closer to home, and then ASU was obviously a big upside, that they just got Zeke there, and I just kind of seized the opportunity, and my dad talked me back to wrestling. I wasn't even going to wrestle, to be honest, but
really,
yeah, it was just kind of a bad year last year. I just went through some things, but ultimately my dad, my parents really convinced me to just to continue on the track and take that step to ASU this year.
Awesome. So now, so you said you weren't looking for you weren't looking to wrestle. Is there anything in a school that you were looking for specifically, or your main goal was just? And for those viewers who don't know, we probably should have touched on this. You're from California, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so so your story, you're from California, you go to Michigan, two drastically different climates. I'm sure you weren't happy just with that right there. So you end up getting the release. Now, were you just looking basically to get closer to home? Is there any school that caught your eye? Any California schools, or you were just looking to get back towards the West Coast?
It was just kind of it wasn't a bad year necessarily. It's just I wasn't having fun anymore. And I'm sure a lot of wrestlers can relate to that. And it was just kind of a hard time in my life. And then the summer came around, and I got a taste, of the West Coast a little bit again. And I fell in love with it a little bit. And so, I wasn't really looking at school as more of just the fact that I wanted to be closer to home.
Okay. Well, that's good enough reason for me. I was from Virginia, and going to Michigan, I mean, 1,000 times I thought about going home. This weather is just I wasn't built for this. So now you briefly mentioned it. Zeke Jones, Jordan Oliver, Chris Pendleton, and Tyrell Fortune joined the coaching staff at Arizona State when right before you're granted your release. So your dad says, hey, why not try it out? What was the recruiting process like for there, or was it any recruiting process? Did they call you? Did you call them? What was it like?
It wasn't a recruiting process at all. My coach Glassy, my high school coach from Santiago, he's been good friends with Pendleton for a while, and when he heard that I wasn't going to wrestle, he was kind of devastated too. Just as much as my parents were. So he kind of was a big part in getting me back into it too. And he said that Pendleton was an awesome coach, and Pendleton had recruited me in high school, so I talked to him just a little bit, so I'd known him from that, and so there was no recruiting process, more of just I kind of just took a leap of faith and went there.
Okay, so now the question: how awesome is it at Arizona State? You can only imagine frat parties with bathing suits and pools. Because my friend Bubba Jenkins, who actually is going to be on the show in a couple of weeks, he told me all about ASU, and he from Penn State to ASU, so kind of like you with the weather change, but he loved it. Is that your take right now? Are you happy with your decision?
Yeah, when I got here though, it was boiling hot, man. I tell you, I was like, holy crap, I don't know how people deal with this. But then it started to cool down and it started to get to where it was pool weather. Well, I guess it was pool weather when it was boiling hot, but it was the pool. I mean, you get all the you get open campus. You don't really have to, be inside. You don't have to wear as many clothes, and you have to worry about the cold. That makes it a lot easier on schooling and all that. And then this is just I feel like it's a more modern campus than a lot of campuses I've been to, and they really take care of their students here, and I like it. I like it a lot. And then having a good coaching staff and all that, I mean, just adds on to it.
Yeah, and the coaching staff, great coaching staff. And the thing I like about Zeke Jones is he has the trust of Arizona State, and that is the main thing, especially with wrestling not being a big market sport. The main thing is having the trust from the administration, and they give him full credit over there. They give him free reign to do whatever he wants, and he's going to build a program, and bringing you in was the first part about it. Let's jump to the reason I had you on the show. I mentioned it briefly in your introduction. I think you're one of the breakout athletes of the season. Currently 17-2. Before the Edinburgh Open, you're 13-1. You go 4-1 at the Edinburgh Open, so you're 17-2 on the season. First, we'll start by saying congratulations on making it to the finals of the Edinburgh Open. I know it didn't turn out how you like, but it's promising. You're making it to the finals. How did you feel at the Edinburgh Open?
I felt good. I felt I was ready. Certain matches go your way. Some people are better than you on certain days, and I felt that I was going to win that tournament going into it, but it just didn't turn out in my favor. But we already made the adjustments, and I'm going to continue to improve off of this, and hopefully get on that big podium in March.
Absolutely, that would be exciting. Side note, off to the side, Jordan Wolfert, you guys both made the finals. I thought 2 transfers. For those that don't know, Wolfert is the 165-pounder for the Central Michigan Chippewas. He won at 65, right?
Yeah, he had a good match.
Okay, so you transfers are doing big things. That's exciting. All right, now that ridiculous sword. What would you have done if you would have won? How would you have got it home?
We were all. I mean, we had 3 winners from that tournament, and we didn't know how the hell to get them back on the plane because we can't drive back, so we're kind of that damn sword was huge, and no one's suitcase was big enough for that sword. So
hey, TSA, we just have a sword to carry on.
What do we do with this sword? And it's in a big old case, and this thing's like freaking it's like 3 yards long or whatever. But I would have probably just hung it up on my wall and kept it there. To be honest, it was pretty sweet though. I would like to got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, these poor kids are going to win the tournament, and they're going to have to leave their prize here. Give them a shirt or something that they can wear.
Yeah, they said a sword, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, whatever. I was thinking kind of be like a genuine, a genuinely good-sized sword. But, man, I guess my thought was off because you bring it out, and I was like, oh, it's like a saber. You freaking slay tiger with this.
Yeah. All right, so that's the Edinburgh Open. Let's move on to we briefly touched on the coaching staff. You got Tyrell Fortune, you got Chris Pendleton, Zeke Jones, Jordan Oliver, and Lee Pritz, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's it like training with Jordan Oliver? How was that? Oh,
it's great, man. He's a genius in technicality, man. And I feel like I have a good blend of coaches. Coach Pritz he's up there with all of them, but Jordan Oliver, I like he's one of my main training partners, to be honest, and I think this season it's showing a little bit. And Zeke has a great mind. I mean, as anyone knows in the wrestling world, and he I go over him with him, and he helps me out in practice a lot with everyone, but he's a good help. And even Pendleton, he's working with the bigger guys, but when he gets a chance, I pick his brain all the time. So it's just a good blend of everyone in there, and I think we have a bright future. In this coming March, I believe we're going to get a lot of All-Americans. So,
yeah, I do too. I think you guys are doing a great job to build that program. And the Valencia brothers are coming next year, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, they're coming.
exciting.
Yeah, we have a good recruiting class, I believe. I think we got the number one from this past year, so
Oh yeah,
we're
it's
gonna
gonna
have.
be dangerous. So we're running out of time here. Couple last things. Let's hear from you, straight from the man himself. What are your goals this season?
To be NCAA champion at 149 pounds for a
Great goal
fact.
to have. Now, we your record 17-2. I'm sure you're not looking at the 17. You're looking at the 2 on your record. What do you have to do to get to your goal of becoming a national champion? How do you erase those 2 losses? And what have you learned from those 2 losses?
I believe it's more of a game plan. I feel like I go in there and I'm a fairly aggressive wrestler. I like to create movement. I like to create a lot of fakes and snaps and get in on shots. But sometimes people like to keep the distance, so I get antsy, and I feel like the thing I need to do is become more fundamentally sound and be more patient. I mean, not every wrestler is not even the best wrestlers go out there and go hard for all 7. They're patient and they pick their shots and when they go and when they don't go. So I think the main thing is just being fundamentally sound, keeping my position.
Okay. Well, great. Well, is there anything else you want to say before we let you go?
No, man, it's a pleasure having me.
Yeah.
Pleasure being on the show.
Pleasure having
Pleasure
me.
pleasure having myself.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, thank you very much for joining us. And we will see you for sure. There's no way. You're ranked, and I'm going by Intermat since that's what we use at the Big Ten Network. You're ranked by us 8th in the country, so there's no way you're not going to be at the NCAA tournament. I'll pray for you that you make it to that podium. I think that you've done everything right leading up to this point. So the best of luck from everyone here at the Associated Wrestling Press. And we just want to thank you for being on episode number 3. Is there anything else? Or we're good?
Thank you for the recognition, man.
Yeah, no problem. Alrighty,
Yeah.
that's been it for episode number 3. He's been Christian Pagdilao. I've been Eric Olenowski. Please check us out on theassociatedwrestlingpress.com. You can check our rankings done by JJ Johnson. And if you have any questions for me, please email me at collegewrestlingreview@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at EZE_shownuff. Thank you very much.